Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review and showing you a couple of swatches of some of the new Little White Lies liquid eyeshadows from Stila, which recently came out as part of their spring collection for 2019. Now I know a lot of these came out in the US at the end of last year. It ain't spring yet. Why is America always so far ahead? I mean, at least wait for the new year to start, for God's sake. Anyway, so Stila released them in the UK finally. They released 6 of these altogether. I picked up 4. Now, I have to be honest, I really struggled to find many reviews on YouTube for these, and the 1 or 2 that I did find didn't really give them the best kind of review. So I thought, let me throw my 2 cents in case any of you are interested in buying these. Now, first off, apologies, I have a cold, so if I sound a bit odd, that's why. I bought mine directly from Stila's UK website. These retail at £24 each, which I believe is about the same price as their Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadows, which we all know and love, as well as their normal liquid eyeshadow range. Now, what makes these different? It says that these are a shimmering white liquid eyeshadow with a secret. What begins in a veil of white sparkle magically transforms into luminescent, punchy, pastel-inspired shades that glisten on lids. There are 2 sides to every story, and it's the same with Stila's trickster transformative technology. At first glance, this glimmering liquid eyeshadow appears white, but the formula contains luminescent particles with a coloured inner core that, when blended, reveals those inner core colours. Like Stila's other non-transfer sparkling liquid eyeshadows, this new formula has a refreshing feel, smooth colour laydown, and skin conditioners for a comfortable feel. So like you can see here, if you were just to see them from this distance, they do look pretty much completely white. It's only when the light kind of bounces off of them you can see that there is another colour kind of hidden inside. So I'm actually wearing one of them on my lid, as I tend to do with a lot of my reviews. I like to wear the product so you guys can actually see it on the skin. The shade I'm using is called Mint Myth. So these are not like the Glitter and Glows because they aren't glitter particles, but they are definitely shimmer, like you can see on my lid. Now, in terms of how they compare to the Shimmer and Glow liquid eyeshadows, those ones I find to be a lot more opaque, a lot more rich in colour, but in essence the kind of quality is sort of similar. Now, what I have seen in terms of reviews online is people saying that these are quite sheer. The colour payoff is not as great as they would have expected in terms of Stila's standard quality, as well as what they assumed it to be from reading about it and what it looks like in the tube itself. Now, I have to say that when I have applied it to my lid, firstly, because it is white, and if you've got something on your lid, which most of us do have, like primer or another eyeshadow, the colour does come off onto here and then it can be transferred back in here. So I would personally suggest, if possible, try not to use the actual wand on your eye. If you have to, make sure you wipe the wand off afterwards and then put it back in here, because the last thing you want is for the colour to change in here and get all muddy. Now, what I have been doing is I have been applying it thickly over my eye, and then rather than using a brush, which sometimes I find that a brush can actually make things go a little bit clumpy, which can happen with the Stila's Shimmer and Glows, and also with these as well. So what I have found and how I did my eyes was I applied this to my lid and I used my finger to pat it down and smooth out the colour. Once it's smoothed out, it does not dry instantly, so that means that you can play with it a little bit, move it around, and then it smooths out and the colour looks gorgeous. Now, to intensify the colour, which I always tend to do, even with the Glitter and Glows, I always wear 2 layers. Same with the Shimmer and Glows, I always wear 2 layers. Because what can happen is when you move a liquid product around and it does start to dry, it can be more intense in one area to another. So in order for you to have maximum coverage, as well as coverage that does not show through your natural lid colour, I apply another layer on top pretty much as soon as I've applied this, and I pat it down and then it looks perfectly fine. So I actually think that these are really nice. Now, because they are pastel shades, they are not as intense as the Shimmer and Glows, which, like I said, are very opaque. I would call these semi-opaque. However, you can build up that opacity, but bear in mind that the more layers you apply, it can become clumpy and bumpy, and then that is when you start moving into an uncomfortable looking territory, especially when it dries on your lids and you've got so many layers. It can make your lids look crinkly, make them look crepey and a little bit aged. So the most I would suggest going in with, if you can handle it, is 2 layers. Now I actually don't have anything underneath this on my lid. This is exactly how I have worn it. I've also worn the other shades too, and they all perform exactly the same. So going back to what they said, non-transfer, let's see. A little bit's come off on my finger. Refreshing feel, yeah, I guess so. I didn't really notice much refreshment. Smooth colour laydown and skin conditioners for a comfortable feel. They feel completely comfortable to me. They look lovely. I personally really like them. I do have to say that these are the kind of colours that when layered over black, they really do come alive. But in terms of what these are for the spring season, these are beautiful shimmering pastel colours. I think that they're absolutely gorgeous. I'm really happy that I got these actually, and I think that they are really good quality. I would give them probably a 8 out of 10. The reason I don't give them a full 10 out of 10 is because I think that they could have made them a little bit more opaque. I think that they could have made them a little bit more like the Shimmer and Glow ones, but they didn't, so that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show them to you up close, just so that you guys can see what they look like on my bare skin, and then I will layer them as well at the same time. So this first one here is called Mint Myth, and as you can see, all of these have got the corresponding shade colour on the actual tube itself, so it makes it easy to spot when you're looking for it in your drawer. And they all have the standard easy to apply doe foot applicator. So this is 1 layer of Mint Sparkle. See when the light hits it how pretty it looks. It does actually feel very cool to the touch. It might be because I've got a bit of a fever at the moment that my temperature's a little bit all over the place that I can't tell on my eyes. But it does definitely have a very nice refreshing feel. And what I tend to do is I just go like this. I normally apply a little bit more heavily on the lid, to be honest, but this is just to show you what it looks like on the hands. And then let's go in with another layer, just blob it on like that, because that's what I generally do on my eyes. And then I just press it in and then just blend it with my finger. And I actually find that this applies a lot more nicely and a lot more evenly than it does with a brush, because when you've got brush fibres, they can also interfere with how the colour lays down. See, look how pretty that is. Oh my god, it's gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, and this one is called Pink Wink Wink. Look how pretty that one is. This one is a white to pink sparkle. And that again is such a pretty colour. Look at how it is in the light. It really changes and it looks stunning. Can you imagine how pretty it will look for the spring? Now going in with one more heavy layer. And I'm just going to pat it in, because what happens is when it starts to dry, it can clump up in areas, and that's when you also get flaking. But with your finger and the warmth from your hands, it actually helps it a lot more than a brush, which obviously doesn't have warmth because it's not human. But look how gorgeous that is. It's so pretty. I love it. This shade here is called Lilac Legend. And look how pretty that one is. This is again a white to lilac twinkle. And then just pat it down. Uh-oh, it's getting dragged into the other one and making a mess. Such a pretty colour. Gorgeous. Let me layer it again. And now just pat it in with my finger to really build up that colour. And look how pretty that looks. Really nice. You can definitely see slight patches of my skin tone through it, but again I suppose that depends on how quickly you blend it and how thickly you have applied the layer as well. And then this last colour I've got is called Yellow Tails, and we'll just apply that here. I'm not going to lie, I think this one is actually my favourite shade. I also find it to be the most opaque one as well. Just look at how that performs compared to the others. You can very easily see that that one is definitely the stronger shade out of all 4 of them. And that is even before me having to pat it down. What I find when I pat it down is as well, it kind of almost brings out the sparkles a little bit more. Like the metallic sheen in it. Okay, let me layer it one more time. And just layer it like that without swiping over it. because when you swipe over it, that's when the layer underneath starts to drag around, just as long as you know how to pat them down and smooth them out. Now look at how beautiful that looks. I mean, all of them are gorgeous. I suppose it's all just down to personal preference and what kind of shades you tend to like the most. See here, you can see them from a distance. They are really, really pretty colours, definitely. I personally am a very big fan of these. I think they're really nice. I didn't try the other ones yet, the mystery ones. Let me know if any of you have tried it and if it's worth investing in, because I am still a very big fan of the glitter and glows. I use them all the time. Those are the ones I tend to reach for the most, just because of how easy they are to use and how intense they are. But these are definitely more muted, softer pastel versions, which are great to use for the spring, especially if you don't want intense glitter on your face. But personally, like I said, for the reasons I've given, I give these an 8 out of 10. I think that if they were a little bit more opaque, I probably would have given them a higher mark. But because they're not, that's the reason why I give them a slightly lower mark. But that's not to say that loads of you won't love them a lot more than I do. These will also layer amazingly over pigmented bases like a navy blue, black especially as well. But when I say base, I don't mean eyeshadow. Well, you could put it over eyeshadow, but I mean like liquid dry down bases that a lot of makeup artists generally tend to use more than your average Joe over here. But yeah, so that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy the review of the new Stila Little White Lies liquid eyeshadows. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you are in the US, have you used them? Do you like them? If you're in the UK, what do you think? Are you going to get them? And that's it for my review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.